Good afternoon. Welcome. We have a relatively small group today. Well, welcome to our town hall. And as we always do, we would like to start with some mission moments. Anyone have some mission moments they would like to share? Well, I'll give a mission moment. We had a director's meeting today, and this was my mission moment. I was really thanking the team, because you may not have known, but I just got back today from, I think I was out for 11 days on a vacation. I normally never go away that long. And it was just so easy coming back, because the team here just does such a good job keeping things going. I said, I don't even need to be here. I hate to say that, but I don't even need to be here. They do it all and do such a good job. So I'm very blessed to have a very strong team. So thank you to all of you. Anyone else have a mission moment?
Along those lines, I want to thank Mary Lee for telling us why the flag is at half-staff. She does that now. She does it by email.
Yes. Thank you, Marilee. Yes, someone had asked, so she does it. Yep. Anyone else? Okay. Well, let me just go over the agenda. Following me, we will have Judy Hanson, your resident council chair, come up. Then we have David Taylor sitting in the back there with his son. Oh, special guest. David Taylor's going to talk, give you a GHSR update, which he does every 3 months. Chaplain Bruce will give you some updates with the chapel. And Teresa, you're doing the active shooter in August, correct? With Jackie in August? Okay. Teresa's going to just give a little update on the facilities assessment update. So before I turn it over to Judy, I just wanted to say, I think most of you know that we started on a pilot on trying to send team members with residents that go out to the hospital. And I really want to thank Jackie, because she's taken a big lead in this. So this is where residents, if you go out 911 or it's planned, we try to send someone with you unless you have a family member that's going with you, or you have a family member or a friend meeting you at the hospital, or you refuse. We've had 1 or 2 refusals, but almost every resident has been elated to have a team member with them. So we started this project. Did I write the date? I think I did. In April 18th, we started this project, and we did it as a pilot with just healthcare and assisted living. And we did not do this over the night shift yet, because we're still looking to hire someone to be shared with all 3 communities in this area to go out with someone during the night. So it's been really successful, and even the hospital's been very complimentary, because I haven't seen this, any other community doing this. But to date, we have sent a team member out to the hospital to accompany a resident 27 times since April 18th. And I even broke it down through levels of care. We had 4 for independent living, but we didn't start, we started with the independent living on April 18th. We started this project March 12th, excuse me. So we did not include independent living until almost a month later, but it seemed that it was rolling along so well. So now we are including IL. So far, we have sent 4 team members out with residents from residential living. For assisted living, we have sent 11 team members out. And for healthcare, we've sent 12. So it's been a successful program. We're doing this also with Bailey's Crossroads, and TVA soon will be doing this also. So I wanted to share that with you. It's turning out to be a success. So thank you. And I will turn this over to Judy.
Good afternoon. There's two items I would like to brief you on today. The Virginia Continuing Care Residents Association, or what some of us know as VACRA, proposed some changes to Virginia law amending the CCRC's residents' rights. These changes were approved during the recent General Assembly session and signed by Governor Spanberger. The fifth provision of this law states, if requested by the resident council of a continuing care facility, the provider shall include as a participant in the meetings of its board of directors a resident representative of the continuing care facility who shall participate in a non-voting advisory capacity. At the Residents' Council meeting of June 2, the RC unanimously approved this request. In addition, until the GHA representative can be selected, the RC also voted unanimously that the current chair of the Residents' Council serve as the resident representative. Proposed amendments to the Resident Council guidelines for the election of a resident representative will be drafted and then presented to the Resident Council Resident Council session at our July meeting and then voted on at the August meeting. Before I go on to my second item, are there any questions about this? Okay. The next item I wanted to brief you on was that the RC was invited to a briefing by HCM on June 3rd. At this briefing, Scott Davis was there, whom you've met before as the lead architect for the renovation projects here at Goodwin House. And with him was the project manager, the landscape architect, and the interior designer. Scott and his team gave us a PowerPoint presentation and kind of a slightly updated architectural landscape, but also including interior design concepts. The team has been here doing a field survey, measuring each area, including looking very hard at our mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, and obviously are having to make some changes based on what they're finding. They've also been meeting with key team members, particularly from dining, fitness, arts, and grounds. And one of the areas that he assured us that they're looking at very hard is to take into account those of us who are hard of hearing, particularly in our dining room areas. There were really no major changes from what we had been presented to before, except they are putting back into the mix this auditorium and the hallway with the idea that they're going to be trying to add in some storage and catering facilities. They've also met with some members of the Grounds and Landscape Committee. We've toured the gardens. We've talked to the landscape architect about what our priorities are, and he's talked to us about what some of his ideas are. And it's very reassuring to know that he in particular and his team are really very much interested in collaborating with all of us to improve our grounds and landscaping. The goal is, hopefully, by mid-July, is that we will have some new design boards set up in the living room, as has happened before, including interior design, so all of you can review these designs and hopefully give some feedback. Now, honestly, I don't know how we're going to do the feedback. That still has to be determined, but you will have an opportunity to see the latest architectural designs and some interior design concepts. Any questions? Amazing. Okay, David? Is it going to be okay back there? He's on his devices, right? Like every kid we know.
Thank you. Oh gosh, let me make sure I know how to use this real quick. Nope. Okay. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see you for the Goodwin House Seminary Road quarterly update, where I can give you all just a brief overview of what's been happening a little bit down the road. So we will go ahead and dive right in. So I don't think I need to explain once again our timeline. I've talked about this pretty much for every meeting that I have been at in terms of where we are. We're in that kind of second bucket where we're collecting the 10% and we're gearing up to start going towards financing. And we'll be in that mode pretty much through the end of this year into early next year. And then, of course, the groundbreaking is scheduled to be later this year, and then we'll start going through that construction process over the next 3 years as we go to welcome new residents. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that slide. Let's talk about where we are since I last saw you. So first thing, the biggest thing is leads. How many people are actually inquiring about Goodwin House Seminary Road? So we've had over 1,100 leads that we've spoken with that have either gotten information, come out to a tour, had an event experience. From there, it's all about building that wait list. Once again, that wait list is going to be very important because these are the people who are going to actually choose an apartment. So we have just right under about 460 or 468 Priority Club members, so just shy of 500. And that's going to be really important for us to continuously maintain. Even as we're doing the pre-selling process, we know this is a long time frame and that folks' needs are going to change, their situation's going to change. So it's important to have a really healthy pipeline so that as folks' needs or situations change and maybe they have chosen an apartment and maybe they decide to either find another place where they can move in sooner or their situations or needs change, we have people who can kind of backfill those. And that really led us to the stage that we're currently in, which is kind of that reservation, right? The pre-selling of Goodwin House Seminary Road. The goal when I last saw you was really to get to that 70% mark, which I believe the last time I saw you, we have achieved. And so now it's kind of how far beyond that 70% mark are we as it pertains to people who have actually decided, yes, I want Goodwin House Seminary Road. Yes, I'm going to put 10% down and actually choose an apartment. And so remember, they gave me 14 to 16 months to get to 70%. That was my goal. We are actually sold out. So, yeah, we can applaud for that. This is great. So the team is sold out at this point, and I think the first thing I will say is just gratitude. As I go to Alexandria and Bailey's Crossroads and talk more about what's happening at Seminary Road, I always want to remind folks that it started with you all. It started with Goodwin House Alexandria. It started with Goodwin House Bailey's Crossroads. If you all weren't having great experiences, if these campuses weren't successful, Seminary Road would not be successful. So the fact that we were able to sell out this building in 8 months is really a testament to everything that you all have built as residents, as team members, as a community. And so we're really thrilled with those results, and we'll continue to nurture those reservists as we hold their hand over the next 3 years until they're able to move in. So I want to break down, and you can't see the screen, and that's okay. I'm gonna read these numbers off to you because one of the things that I often hear and questions I get from existing residents and even Priority Club members is, okay, you're building this new campus. What is that doing for the pipeline here at Alexandria, and where do those reservists come from? And so this chart really breaks down who our reservists are. The first chart really talks about the Priority Club list, right? So the Priority Club, those that are broken down for those who joined the list at Alexandria and Bailey's Crossroads, of that 468, 177 of that 468 is what I call legacy Priority Club members. They were members at Alexandria and Bailey's Crossroads and have just decided, hey, you know what? I also want to consider Seminary Road. And then the 291 are those that originated from Goodwin House Seminary Road, which is impactful because what we've seen also is that those folks have now raised their hand and said, gosh, you know what? I also want to explore Alexandria and Bailey's Crossroads. And those are new Priority Club members for these communities that we may not have had if Seminary Road wasn't up and running. And then as we look at our kind of reservist breakdown, so of those 210 people who are reserved, how many of those people were what we call come from that legacy priority club, which means they were members of Alexandria and Bailey's Crossroads? That makes up about 90 households of the 210, and the remaining are from the Seminary Road, organically came to Seminary Road and are now reservist. And so it just kind of gives you a breakdown of the mix that make up the pipeline as well as the reservist. So this next chart talks specifically about where we are in terms of our waitlist activity at Alexandria and Bailey's Crossroads. The graph really just shows that there's been sustainable interest in folks joining our waitlist. Alexandria and Bailey's Crossroads is averaging about 15 new priority applications a month. To put that in context to Seminary Road averages anywhere from 18 to 20. So we still see a good, healthy pipeline of folks wanting and choosing Alexandria and Bailey's Crossroads. And then this graph just kind of shows you the breakdown of the Goodwin House, Alexandria, and Bailey's Crossroads waitlist. We have 358 that would move to either. We have 279 that would move to Bailey's Crossroads, and we have 218 that specifically want Alexandria. So it just kind of shows you that we are still very much growing the pipeline and interest of our existing communities while also gaining that interest for the new one as well. So activity is not slowing down. So what's next for our team over at Seminary Road? They're going to be transitioning now that we're sold out to what I call the retention phase, which is really about building community before they actually move into the community. We'll still do information sessions to build that pipeline. We'll be doing definitely some retention events to build that sense of community. We are going to be going through financing for the project between now and the end of 2026, and then their personalization process where they really get to pick, oh, what cabinet colors do I want? What countertops do I want? That's going to really start at the beginning of next year. And so those are kind of the big milestones of what the team and the resident or the reservist will be experiencing next. So this is just some of our upcoming retention events. Gavin and I just came from their ice cream social, which was today. And so they were having a lot of fun over at the sales center. But they'll be doing a lot of things that really are designed for them to meet their neighbors, get information. But we really, once again, want them to build that sense of community. These are just some pictures of some of the things that they did. We've had Chef Brian come over, and he did kind of a wine pairing dinner party for our reservists. And so we really use that sales center not just as a place where they can get information, but a place where we can create some meaningful experiences for them as well. So one of the biggest things that I wanted to show you all is some additional renderings. And these are renderings of the outside of the community. We really wanted to render out what this concept of an urban arboretum was going to look like from the outside. That has been something that's really resonated with our reservists, is this idea that we're going to have nature in a very urban setting, not only outdoors, but indoors. And so these next photos are really designed to show you what the outside of the building is going to look like. This has also been very influential and important for our TVA residents because they'll be sharing this outdoor space. So it was really helpful to be able to communicate to them and show them what their outside experience is going to look like. So just to give you a high level, this is just a map of the entire campus, North Beauregard, where we are right across the street from, and then the View Alexandria, which is the existing building, and then Goodwin House Seminary Road, which is on the bottom side of the slide. just to orient you. So then as we make our way into the first rendering, this is that central green that's kind of right in between the View Alexandria and Seminary Road. And so we will make sure that we have benches there. There'll be walkways. There'll be some artistic sculptures there that folks can enjoy. We will have a dog park. That was very important to our TVA residents and our existing residents. So we will have a little dog run as well. That will be on the exterior of the north building for Seminary Road, but our View Alexandria residents will also be able to access that. This is kind of a pollinator garden. It's just another area that they can sit. We plan on having a lot of different floral elements, different plants, trees for folks to enjoy. These are the gardening boxes. So we will have gardening boxes off to the side of the existing View Alexandria where that parking lot is right now. This will actually be converted into a community garden. And then on the terrace level, Seminary Road folks will have their gardening boxes as well. So this will be more of communal gardening spaces. And then, of course, that's the outdoor terrace that connects the south and north tower on the third level of Seminary Road. That space designed for our Seminary Road residents, but they'll also have some gardening spaces up there, activity spaces, dining spaces. So a really nice space for them to enjoy. All right, that is my time. Any questions? Yes. Also, my son's here, so go easy on me. Okay, go ahead.
I'll be careful. Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Thank you so much, David. I really appreciate it. I actually have two questions. One is, I have heard, quote unquote, that Seminary Road will have neither a library nor a chapel. And we use our chapel a lot, and we also use our library a lot. Both are very valued parts of our community, and I was really surprised. Is that the case?
So great question. So we've talked a lot about the chapel at these meetings. We will have a spiritual and community center. It's one of the first amenity spaces as you walk into Seminary Road. It'll be right on your right-hand side. I could probably paint a picture of what it looks like because I've spent a lot of hours looking at renderings for this space, but that will be served as a chapel, but also community space. But we will have a spiritual and community center. We'll also have a meditation area as well that can also be used for different religious activities. So we have a lot of intentionality around the fact that we are a faith-based organization, and so faith will be spread throughout the community. We won't have a dedicated chapel, but we will have, like I said, the Spiritual and Community Center, which will provide those services, as well as other spaces that will speak to the spiritual, faith-based nature of our organization. So that's one. In terms of the library, we will have what we call a nook. We will have books around, but we won't have that traditional library space, which actually has not been a dissatisfier with our reservist. So that's one of the other things that we have to keep in mind, is that this is a new group of residents, which we have communicated all of the amenity spaces that will be available to them. They know that a library will not be there, and it has not been a dissatisfier for them. So.
Okay, thank you for
Absolutely.
that. I might say that after they've been there for a while, they may wish they had a library. The other question, though, has to do with what is attracting various people to the various communities. Is it that there is something unique about each community? Is it the particular, or is it something else?
Well, that's a really complex question that I don't know if I have a straightforward answer. I think there's a lot of things that attract a lot of different residents to different communities. I think what's great about Goodwin Living is that we are branching out, we're expanding so that we can provide older adults with choice. And even between Alexandria and Bailey's Crossroads, now that I have the privilege of bouncing around to all 5 of our communities, there are differences between all of them. And they're kind of a different resident culture with all of them. And I think that's important for an organization as you grow and as you expand. I think one of the things that Seminary Road is really, as I just was interacting with all the reservists at the ice cream social, they're really drawn to a new building. That's been something that's been very appealing. They love being at the beginning stages of it. They love the idea that they're going to be able to build this culture together. We've also had folks not choose us because they don't want to build a community from the ground up. They want to go to something that's more established, that already has the things that you already have in place. So it just depends upon where a person is as to what they choose and why. But I feel what's great is that we have choice within Goodwin Living, which I think is great. We're going to go over here, and then we'll come back over here. Yes.
I'm just curious to know what the dimensions of the dog run are.
I do not have the answer to that, but I will find out and I will report back. I do not know. That's a good question. I don't know. Yes, ma'am.
I see that the campus, it's Beauregard, and Fairbanks. Does the campus actually touch Seminary Road anywhere?
It does not touch Seminary Road anywhere.
How did you get the name?
You know what the name was? Here's the thing. I'm going to blame the fact that the name was actually created before I was here, so I don't know the answer to that. But I know that the Seminary Road is a key landmark of this area,
Sure.
And we didn't want to call it Goodwin House Beauregard. That doesn't kind of have a ring to it. Goodwin House Alexandria was already taken, and so I just think Seminary Road, faith-based, it felt like a good name. But I'll have to ask Kathy Miller on that question. Any other questions? Okay. 2 more questions. Got it.
As somebody who's worked in the marketplace, I had an interesting call from a resident at the Mather. After about 1.5 years, they've decided they need some place like that, and their management was going to give them a 4x4 cube to accomplish all that. So I wonder how that might work at Seminary Road.
I'm confused by the question. You're saying that they
We have a marketplace thrift store that funds our foundation.
Got it. Okay. Got it. So that's basically, are we going to have kind of like a whatnot shop or like
Marketplace.
a marketplace? So great question. And I think that's one of the areas that as we get residents, that's going to be something that we'll be able to support them if that's something that they want. So that's part of the attraction of a new community is we don't have necessarily everything built out. We have space, and sometimes space is just allocated as this is going to be right now a classroom, but it could turn into X depending upon what the residents are wanting. So we want to stay flexible in terms of naming all of our spaces. I don't know of a whatnot shop yet, but that's one of the things that as we get closer to opening, we're going to survey our reservists and say, what are the other spaces that you would want and how could we fit that into the footprint? So.
David, thank you so very much. About 50 residents here at this campus each Monday morning get together to talk about a topic. And one of the things that happens over the last 5 years in that group is that people drop remarks about the living in the Goodwin House. And the consensus always is they really like living here and they like the community. Now, it's very possible that that attitude is spread out into the community by the contacts that we have with people in the community. And it may be that that attitude that's reflected in that affirmation of the Goodwin House is some of the driver behind the good recruitment that you've had. Would you agree that that's a possibility that this group of people has had a part in helping that happen?
Without a shadow of a doubt. Absolutely. which is why I express my sincere gratitude every time I see you all, that it starts with you all. If you all hadn't had a great experience, if you all didn't enjoy living at a Goodwin Living community, Seminary Road would not be successful.
Thank you very much for that. And could I presume from what you've said that you want very much to protect the good name of the Goodwin House as it is disseminated out into the community?
I feel like I'm walking into a trap, but
Yes, you are.
sure.
Yes,
Go
indeed.
ahead.
That's a for the record question. Okay, thank you.
All right. All right. Well, thank you all for going easy on me with my son in the back. I think that is my time. Thank you all for having me. I will see you in 3 more months. And please, if you have any other questions, shoot me an email. Would love to hear them. All right. Thanks so much.
Good afternoon. I'm Bruce, your chaplain, and delighted to be so. We have a few things going on here. We're having, I think, the second memorial service that we've had that was a couple. We had Wade and Ann Gregory had a service together. Tomorrow is a service for Joan and Bill McCullough. That's at 2:30 in the chapel. And we have 2 pastors and the organist from Westminster Church coming over to be a part of that. That means the knitters and crocheters will be meeting in the bishop's room tomorrow from 2 to 3. And Friday is Juneteenth. And we've had various ways we've observed that in the past. Just inside the door at the chapel, there's a booklet of interfaith prayers for our common life and the social order celebrating Juneteenth. And you can pick one up and take it with you and pray wherever you want. You can go and sit in the chapel and read through the prayers. I think both my interns will be here on Friday, and they may choose to have a time of reading the prayers out loud. I thought they'd be here today, but I would have loved to have them here so I could have introduced them to you. But I haven't been able to have that conversation with them yet. But they will be available for you, and they're also available, they will be anyway, in Uniguest, which is where we put a whole lot of stuff. I am so happy to use Uniguest. I keep pulling out my phone and going, well, let's see. Is there something happening that day? How do I call somebody right now? And I go into Uniguest in the directory and I get their number and I call them. There are all sorts of wonderful things I can find out this way. And I noticed when I looked in it that I hadn't changed the location for the knitters for tomorrow. It was showing up as Bishop's Room. So I went into my Uniguest and changed the location. And Saturday, Rabbi Gale, we are very fortunate to have a volunteer rabbi. And Rabbi Gale comes first Friday of the month to do an in-person Sabbath service in the chapel at 4:30, and 2 weeks later on a Saturday she comes to do a Torah study, a Jewish Bible study at 3:30 in the chapel. And she and I do programs together at various times of the year, but we are definitely very fortunate to have that. We're also very fortunate to have folks from Blessed Sacrament come every single Monday for a Catholic service at 10 o'clock. And we're very fortunate to have a group of friends. The Quakers, that's another, you're all friends, right? But friends is another term for the Quaker tradition. And they're meeting in this section, Auditorium B, on Sundays at 4 o'clock. We are just very fortunate that we have such a diverse community and welcoming diverse community, and that each kind of tradition adds to our wonderful community here. And I'm so grateful to be your chaplain. Thank you. Who's next?
All right, good afternoon. Teresa and I co-chair the safety committee here. We're a committee that meets monthly. We typically do safety drills monthly. And we have partnered with the Alexandria Police Department to do an active shooter, what is now called active violence, drill on August 26th. On May 11th, Officer Vu came out and did a training for all the residents. There was about a little over 100 residents there. Who went? Okay, great. This past Monday, Officer Vu came out and did a training for all team members. We had about 65 to 70 team members. We will be putting another article out the first week of July. That will be by Teresa, about what's coming next. We'll then put another communication piece out the first week of August, and then just another one right before the drill on August 26th. During the drill, the individuals, the team members and officers participating in the drill will have vests to identify ourselves. We'll be observing. We don't want to give too much direction because we want to see what we do without giving guidance, right? That's why we do a drill. We're also using the phrase code silver in an active violence situation, which will be broadcasted on August 26th. Code silver is the code used for active violence in healthcare settings, and that's why we're using it. We didn't just pick a color. So that is the explanation there. Does anyone have any questions about the active violence drill coming up? Teresa, did I miss anything? Oh, yes, Sally. Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. If we missed the first one, which I did, I wasn't here. How does that make a difference in a response?
So what she's asking is if you missed the education provided by Officer Vu on May 11th for the residents, what do you do, right? We do have the PowerPoint up on Uniguest. And like I said, we have communication going out the first week of July and the first week of August, and then right before the drill. So we'll write in those the communication piece what you need to do. Essentially, the steps in no particular order is run, hide, fight. And with our population, it's probably easiest to hide. Right? I can't tell you what exactly to do because I don't want to pick anyone's fate, but it would be easiest for us to hide and shelter in place.
Jackie?
Yes.
In Uniguest, under emergency communications, I have taken over that section and put in every part of the safety section from the handbook, divided out by topic. So active shooter information is there.
Thank you, Mary Lee. Any other questions? All right.
Are there still questions? Because I can call Jackie back. I'll give her all of my time. Okay. So I'm just going to do a brief overview of where we are with our facilities, capital projects, as well as the facilities condition assessment projects. How many of you received the newsletter that came out in June? No, May, right? Either one. Okay, so we're pretty up to date on that. So I'll just go over some of the higher, the ones that you've spoken the most about to let you know where we are. The marketplace, I noticed that there are several of you that have sneaked in and unzipped the curtain. How do you know that, Teresa? Because I walk right behind you and close the curtain. But it looks beautiful. We're really excited to finish that project, which we believe will be done by the end of this month. And so we're really excited for that. And these are building enhancement projects. The tower garage entrance is almost completed. We've moved, I think someone always asked us about the trash can. The trash can is in place. We've removed the excess benches down there, so that area is also expected to be completed by the end of this month. Resident storage improvements, we will be beginning with storage room B, which is the smaller of the storage rooms, to upgrade the storage bins there. They will be similar or just like the metal ones that are in storage room C. We will begin that in storage room B. We will notify you well in advance to let you know when we need you to help us by opening your storage bin so that we can move the items out, place them in a secure storage area, and then return them. In the meantime, to address any possible leaks that you've experienced in the past, we will begin in storage room A in the lower bins to put in the pallets. Amadou and his team will be doing that over a weekend. So they will be working on a Saturday and a Sunday. And so we will let residents know by section. We will be working in this section of storage room A. Will you come down, open your bin? We'll take things out, put the pallets in to protect against any water damage, and return them immediately. Questions on the storage bins? Okay. On our building enhancement project. Oh, I'm sorry.
Just a quick question. I think it's great that you're doing those pallets and against possible water damage. Are the top storage bins going to have anything over the top protecting from leaks from that direction?
They will not. And part of the reason is because over the top we have a lot of sprinklers. And so if there's a fire in those areas, we need to make sure the sprinklers can access and put out anything. But what we are doing as we work in each storage bin or in storage rooms, we are going in looking at all of our piping. And so there are some pipes, some older original building pipes that we know we need to replace, as well as any sprinklers that we may need to replace. So that's another way we're trying to mitigate any floods or anything in those areas.
Okay. Teresa, I have a question regarding the entrance to the tower garage. Mm-hmm. Are you going to put a bench on the outside in the garage area like there was before?
Barbara, I'm not sure. Let me check that. I think it is in the plan because we moved it from one side. I do believe there is one going on the outside.
Okay.
I will follow up with you.
It's very helpful if you have a package and you're looking for your key and you have some place to put it down.
I will definitely follow up with you.
Okay, I have one question.
Okay.
And that is, how do you know whether you're an A, B, or C?
I can tell you my way of finding out. I sort of just stand in the hall and think of numbers and see which way I should go. But there is a spreadsheet that I have as well as sales. And with your apartment number, we can tell you which storage room you're in. Because the storage room C is so large, there are members, apartments from the original building that are in storage room C. So we'll be able to find that once we get your apartment number. We can look at this spreadsheet and tell you exactly where you're located. Any other questions on that? Yes. Okay, we're going to ask Meredith where everyone is located. All tower is in the C, but there are some from the original building in C as well. Okay.
Teresa, I haven't had a chance to relay this to you, but several people have asked me if we could buy some more grocery carts for G1 garage level because we keep running out of them. And then people come with their groceries and they can't find a cart. So I know that's not necessarily in your budget, but if you could keep that in mind, I think that'd be really helpful.
Okay, I will definitely keep that in mind. I think last year we bought 12. And it's still a problem. So while I will look at our budget to purchase some more, I'm going to empower you to say to your neighbors, please return the carts so we can all work together.
Okay. So I understand it's been impossible so far to find anybody to take over to find any resident to take over the responsibility of the marketplace. Several of them have been asked. They've all said, no, it's too much work. I've been doing it for years, or I've seen people doing it for years, and it's a task beyond my capabilities. I will not do it. I'm thinking, so the marketplace is only open during the week, not on weekends. It's not open in the evenings, and it's not even open every day of the week. Perhaps the responsibility to run the marketplace could be added to the responsibilities of the person who was the nurse, the security person, the doctor, etc. Those folks are not doing anything during the daytime. So let's perhaps see if we can get them to do that job.
Bob, you always make me laugh. You always make me laugh. But I can't verify that we have had a ton of people turn down the marketplace. I know we are talking to various people. There is interest. So I don't think we need to add that to that person. We will have someone step up. Yes.
While we're talking about the marketplace, my next door neighbor, Dick Bennett, has been dedicated beyond belief for such a long time.
Absolutely.
And I personally have purchased 2 chairs and plan to ask maintenance to deliver them. But guess who delivered them himself within a half hour?
Absolutely.
So a round of applause for
Kudos.
Dick Bennett.
Absolutely. And there's Dick Bennett. We are very appreciative of all the hard work that Dick did and all the extra steps and just the overall, if you want it, I'll bring it to you before our team could even get there. So we are very appreciative of him. I want to talk briefly about the fire alarm and the fire door that's in the garage, because I was made aware that some people did not know it existed. And there are others who knew it because they had been down there when the fire alarm went off before and saw the door close. So the fire door in the garage level, outside of the small house, works very much like the door here in the hall as you come through the living room before you get to the small house. When there is a fire alarm, those doors will close. It is only after the all clear, you will see some of our staff up here. They will push the door back. You will also, some of you, if you're in the garage, you will see them go down and push the button to lift the door down there. The issue that we had was because of the power surge, and the panel that it is tied into was fried. So we could not push the button to lift the door up. We tried to get a communication out as quickly as we could. We got our electrician on site. When he was here, he was able to do another rewiring into another panel, which is not the permanent fix because there are other things in that panel. So we don't want to overcharge that panel. But we were able to get the garage door open, sent out an email saying, hey, if you want to get out, run now, get out. And many of you followed it, but we have been able to keep that door open while we're working on the panel. I just wanted to say, because it was like a lot of you said, I just didn't even know it was there. It is there because it is a new building. And so we have to have a fire barrier in place in case something goes on. We don't want it to automatically spread. Just like if there's an alarm in the original tower building go off at the same time because you have no firewall. The small house fire wall is automatically enacted to keep the fire from spreading over here. So that is why that happened. Any other questions I can answer for you? Yes.
Teresa, you had a fire testing last
Yes.
week, 1 week ago. Can you tell me the results of that?
So the results of that, because we kept, our residents had said they didn't hear the all clear or they didn't hear the alarm. So the first incident with the fire alarm, the reason that we were able to cut that alarm off is because we were on the phone with the fire department. We gave them all of the details. We knew the source. We had checked the sources that they told us to check. Fire department said, okay, we don't need to send anyone out. You can silence the alarm. On our end, our team member did not hit the all clear. So that's why you didn't hear it. On the testing, because we heard people say they didn't hear the alarm and the all clear is tied into one voiceover system. So our assumption is that if you hear the alarm sound, you will also hear the all clear sound. So when we did the fire alarm test, we asked everyone, if you do not hear the alarms, let us know. We did not do the all clear, we just rang the alarm, and we tested by building. And so that's where we asked for feedback. And I think we had a couple of people call, say it was very low, or it was so low in my apartment, can you check the speakers in my apartment?
Okay, so that actually happened in my apartment. The lights flashed when the alarm started, or the fire drill started, and there was no alarm sounding in my apartment, and I could not hear the message at all. The alarm sounded very distant. My initial thought was it was a test, and maybe they were just, doing it partially or something. So I almost wasn't going to say anything, but I did go down and I told Marilee. And I thought maybe somebody would come up and test in my apartment or whatever they would do. And nothing happened, so I mentioned it to Marilee again, and she said, contact facilities. So I sent a message to Amadou on Uniguest. I didn't hear anything. And so this week, I actually thought maybe it wasn't just me. So I sent out a text to all my hallmates on the 6th floor. And there were 4 of us who did not hear the alarm or the message in our apartments. And they all thought the same thing that I initially thought, that maybe it was just the way the test was being run. I went a step further and did a random sample of people on different floors in the tower. And some said that they barely heard the alarm. Others said they heard it. So it was more widespread, I think, but excuse me, I was mostly disturbed that we didn't get any feedback about it, and the fact that for 1 week, thank God nothing did happen, but if something had, I closed my bedroom door at night. I wouldn't have seen the flashing light, and I certainly wouldn't have heard the alarm.
Thank you. I do know your apartment was one that came up. 951 was another one. Those are the only 2 that I knew about that came up where the alarm wasn't clear. I know we did make a list for the fire marshal to come back and check the speakers in your apartment. That is the other thing. So we are waiting for them to come back. As they come out to test the fire alarm again, they will also go into the apartments that we have a list of. So again, those are the only 2 that I know of.
I think an email needs to go out asking if that happened.
I will do that. I will ask for others to let me know, because I have a running list of just those 2. So we will definitely make sure we're checking the speakers in the apartments. Any others? Okay, I'm going to pick up my papers. I'm going to start easy my way back to the chair. You can get me in the middle. I'm moving. This is a fast time to move.
Thank you, Teresa. Great job. All right, you have 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes of, if anyone has any questions, Meredith.
Bruce, I'd like to remind everybody about the toiletries collection.
That's next.
Absolutely.
Next
had
Wednesday.
in
Will you
my
talk- will
mental
you speak-
list, but not on my written list.
Will you speak to that, please?
Yes, definitely. Our twice yearly toiletries collection is happening Wednesday, the 24th, from 9 to 11:30 in the game room. We collect all sorts of toiletries, but please, new, unopened, fresh. They don't have to be mint flavored, but minty fresh maybe. Women's hygiene things are high on their list. They asked us for coloring books and the 8-pack of crayons a while back for children who accompany adults to the clinic so that they've got something to do, and they take those home with them. This is all going to the Culmore Clinic, which is in a temporary location while they get a new location built in a new affordable housing structure that is going to be built on the property of First Christian Church there on Route 7. So they're over at First Baptist? Not First Baptist. It is? Okay. First Baptist, that's next to St. Anthony's Church. That's their temporary location. And we're very happy to receive your toiletries. They can be the small size or the big size. We provide them, we separate them and put a bag of assorted things, large sizes together to go to a household, small sizes to go to an individual, and they say their clients really appreciate these. And in the bag, we give them a stack of cards and cloth bags that they can put the Ziploc bags into. They can see what's in the plastic ones before they put it in the cloth. And a card that says, these come from your friends at Goodwin House Alexandria. So thank you for what you do to provide those. And our outreach committee is the group that helps sort and assemble that. And when we find a date in July, probably it'll be in July, when we do the bagging of it, we might let you know, and anybody who'd like to come who's not on the committee could come and help sort. Thank you very much. Thank you, Meredith, for reminding.
Any other questions?
Are you going to wash our windows this spring? My windows are really bad.
Do we have a date yet, Anna?
No. It will be the second week of July, but it will be the first or the second week of July.
Yes is the answer.
And yes.
Okay, anything else? Okay, and I also want to comment, if you have any suggestions on topics for the town hall, please let me know, because we certainly can add that. So let me know if there's anything you want me to add for the next few months. But thank you very much. Have a lovely day.